Hi, my name is Rebecca Mayer, and I am giving you a presentation on an introduction to American Sign Language, also known as ASL. I have been interested in learning American Sign Language since I was in 10th grade, so about 22 years ago. What is American Sign Language? Why is it important? How hard is it to learn? These questions and more. Let's begin. I started learning about American Sign Language when I was in 10th grade. In 10th grade, I had the opportunity to be a special education student aide. It really heightened my interest in learning ASL to communicate with a younger student who was deaf. She also had Down syndrome, and so it was a great way to learn how to communicate with her and also to help instruct the other teachers. I lived in a very small town. There were not a lot of resources to learn American Sign Language. I taught myself American Sign Language from books and also with the help of the instruction of the special education teacher. We were also able to help teach other teachers in the school. I went to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and was allowed the opportunity to major in elementary education, K through 6, and deaf and hard of hearing education. It was a great way to expand upon my basic knowledge of American Sign Language. What is ASL? American Sign Language, also known as ASL, is a complete complex language that employs signs made by moving the hands combined with facial expressions and postures of the body. The facial expression is as important as your hands. For me, it is not an easy language to learn. It has many different dialects, even regional dialects in the United States. But if you practice, you can learn. There are a lot of great instructional videos to learn, and this is one of them if you double click to play. Is all sign language the same? No. American Sign Language is its own sign language. There are many different countries that have similar signing, but it is not the same. So it really depends on where you're from, what sign language you would use. How did ASL begin? The exact beginnings of ASL are not clear, but some suggest that it arose more than 200 years ago from the intermixing of local sign languages and French Sign Language. So today it is mostly its own language now. A little bit of the French Sign Language is used. How is ASL different than spoken language? In spoken language, words are produced by using the mouth and voice to make sounds. But for people who are deaf, the sounds of speech are often not heard, and only a fraction of speech sounds can be seen on the lips. Sign languages are based on the idea that vision is the most important useful tool. ASL is its own language. It has its own rules for pronunciation, word order, and complex grammar. When you give a sign, it actually is reverse of how you would say it. So instead of what is your name, it would be your name is what. Are all deaf children born with deaf parents? No. In fact, 9 out of 10 children born deaf have hearing parents. So we cannot assume that because a child is deaf that their parents are deaf as well. It is important to ask, are you hearing or deaf? Learning basic American Sign Language. A great place to start is learning the ASL alphabet. You learn the hand shapes that go along with the corresponding letter. This is wonderful because if you do not know a word, you are able to finger spell it, and especially when you introduce yourself, it's spelling your name. Also, learning basic words and phrases such as hi and what is your name is definitely important when you meet a person who uses ASL. If you can start with that, then you can tell them your name and start a conversation. Are you hearing or deaf? That is a question if you are having a conversation with a person who is using ASL will ask. The sign for hearing is on the left and the sign for deaf is on the right. For deaf, you would touch your chin and then touch your ear, and for hearing, it's a quick movement with your finger. This is a great video that introduces how are you doing. This is something that when you are in a conversation that would likely be asked, how are you doing? So I like this video because it shows multiple angles of how are you doing, what it looks like to you, and also what it looks like if you were the signer. So if I was asked, what is your name? This is how I'd respond. My name is Rebecca. So the hand on the chest is my name is where the fingers are crossed. And then I finger spelled R-E-B-E-C-C-A. After 22 years, I am still fascinated by American Sign Language. I'm a little bit rusty now that I don't use it every day. It is one language that if you do not use it every day, it is unfortunately easy to forget, but it still fascinates me. I love that it's beautiful and creative. Why is learning ASL important? The deaf culture appreciates when you try and use ASL to communicate, even if you're not that good at it. You may have a friend, a coworker, or student who is deaf. Or you may want to learn a new, creative, and expressive language. It is a great language to learn. I really hope that you will want to learn more about American Sign Language and the deaf culture. I have included some links, a YouTube video, and the ASL app that you can have on your phone for a quick reference. These are great sites to learn more about ASL and the deaf culture.